Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I am Joe Ovies, inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh, thanks to Empire Properties, thanks to Copiers Plus, and thanks to whatever hydration methods Giglio seemed to be doing yesterday. You good? Hydrated?
I'm alive.
You're live? What's the color of your pee today?
That's a great question. I think it's normal.
Were you so out of it on Sunday that you don't know any of these Super Bowl commercial references?
I don't.
Wow. They did an entire commercial to Phil Collins, one of the most depressing songs I've ever listened to. The Take a Look at Me Now.
I love that song. Yeah, Against All Odds.
Against All Odds, man. That song makes me feel a certain type of way, right? They did it with a bunch of toilets singing Against All Odds. And it was basically begging people to look at their urine after they're done.
Is this the dump in a box or
no, that's Cologuard.
Okay.
Which that's a separate conversation altogether. Get a colonoscopy, folks, straight up. That only does, it's a screening. Get a colonoscopy. You won't remember it. Now, this is for liquid IV, okay? So the whole thing was, do you remember that meme from it wasn't a meme, it was actually somebody had taken a picture of a football facility.
Yeah.
And it was like championship level hydration. It was like the color of your urine.
It was Ohio State.
It might have been Ohio State, right? So essentially it was a Super Bowl commercial version of, are you pissing excellence? Are you pissing championship level hydration on the color of your urine, right? So there was a commercial for liquid IV, which I might add, you know what else helps with hydration?
Sleep.
Water.
Oh, regular water.
Which I'm surprised you don't remember this commercial because you, of all people, are obsessed with varying hydration gimmicks.
I am, yeah.
You love a flavored water. You love a weird crystal pack that you slap in your water bottle. So I'm surprised that one did not resonate with you.
Yeah.
Did you just drink straight water yesterday?
Sunday was hard. No, I did have a liquid IV yesterday. A couple. Yeah, I did not have my mushroom coffee yesterday.
Okay.
I did have it today.
Okay, good. Now, before we continue, are you pissing excellence right now?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm on top of my game, but I probably am a little bit better off than what NC State is after their trip to Louisville last night.
I was confused because I thought the most hungover thing I saw on Monday was you on the floor of this studio. I was incorrect. Turns out it was NC State that was looking like they did every vice under the sun on Super Bowl Sunday and struggled to get going against Louisville. There have been many graphics, fun facts, tidbits put out on social media about the historic nature of this year's NC State team and Will Wade's rookie season. We can now add yet another historical fun fact to what Michael Brown did to NC State. 45 points, 118 total points.
I think that's the most they've given up in an ACC game ever.
That's insane. That's insane to me. And going to the OG sports phone, it really was like a combination of there were three genres of reaction to last night's NC State debacle at Louisville.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
Many of them were related to the Will Wade couch. There was no fucking on the Will Wade bed last night.
Ovies Giglio, it's your boy Young Gravy, a.k.a. Grave Hill. I'm a State fan saying this, and all I got to say is put up the Will Wade sheets and get out the Brown Jr. blanket because State fans are sleeping on the couch tonight. That's all. Bye.
I believe NC State said to the NC State fan base last night against Louisville, I got a headache, not tonight. But I think that's what happened last night. A variation on that from a text, 980 to the sports phone. Getting blown out in a primetime slot? Is it football season already? Hashtag Dave Doran couch tonight. Mark it down. Dave Doran caught a stray. Another $2.
I did actually think that last night. I was like, oh no.
Well, for instance, here's
Dave coaching. Why?
Here's from a 919.
Hey guys, appreciate what you're doing. Watching the State Louisville game, almost halftime. They're down by 18. All I want to say is, why does every time NC State in football or basketball, every time ESPN, national television, they shit in the bed every fucking time. Appreciate what y'all do. Love you guys. Bye.
Yep. We are up to
what are we up to?
$10.
$10 in the Dave Dorrance tray. I'm actually surprised we're that low.
Our first one since January 22nd.
Gotcha.
So.
And then we got this call from a 336 that I thought was interesting.
Hey, this is Steven in Raleigh. I was curious, since Giglio's asked so many great questions at Will Wade press conferences this year, if the State Louisville game last night was at home and it played out the same way, you know, Louisville wins by 40-something and the Louisville guard goes off for 45. What question would Giglio have asked Will Wade last night? Just curious. And what do you think Wade's response would have been? Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Well, it's funny because at the end of the SMU game, I noticed this. Boopy Miller, remember, had two possessions. One at the end, the last minute of the game.
Yeah.
One where Van Allen Lubin switched on to him and Boopy ends up going to the basket, no problem, scores.
Mm.
In the second possession, Boopy Miller Van Allen Lubin does not switch on to him. Holloman stays on him. Holloman ends up playing great defense, blocks a shot even. NC State wins the game. In my head, I noted to myself, the money's on the table. They decided to go away from the let's switch on everything. This is in me in no way blaming Van Allen Lubin for what Mikel Brown did yesterday.
Yeah.
But noticing on a lot of the threes that he hit early to get going were switches to Lubin. And good coaches like Pat Kelsey, that's what they do. They do it on purpose. You use the big so that you switch to the big. Okay. And I was surprised that State didn't make an adjustment on Brown specifically to not switch.
Yeah.
Play through, come over the screens, play through them, maybe even double because of the way that he's playing. And that was my only question would have been specifically about, hey, at the end of the SMU game, you didn't let Holloman switch off of Biller. What was your thinking tonight in terms of just using the straight up switch on everything with Brown, and maybe why didn't you adjust?
Mm-hmm.
I think NC State, from the beginning of this game, two things are very true. Louisville was in a rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
And there's going to be games. This happens a lot in the NBA. It happens a lot on a Monday. They're like, there's going to be games where the home team is sitting there feeling good for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
They get hot early, and it's closing time. Whether you lose by 4, whether you lose by 41, ain't nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I think, and that's number one for Louisville, and I think Brown was out to serve a little notice too. Like, hey, you know, you're talking about all these freshmen, just remember my name as well. I think there's that. I think number two to this, though, was NC State. Their defensive intensity was really bad. And there's no other way to have a team score 118 points on you in a 40-minute game other than to have a total and complete lack of defensive intensity.
Yeah.
And you saw that not only in the way that Brown was able to score, but the way that Louisville in the second half of this game, Joe, they scored 62 points in the second half of this game.
That's the part.
What?
There are two things that came out of last night that I would raise an eyebrow to. Okay. The first one is what you're referencing in the second half. And it's not like NC State hasn't gotten off to slow starts before. You know, like I was reading Will Wade's post-game press conference quotes, and they're talking about getting themselves in a hole and things like that. Again, these are things that have been an issue for NC State so far this season. They have found themselves getting out of it. They've been kind of an uptick in defensive intensity going forward. I went back and double check because I was like, am I misremembering what I saw at the end, right? The last bucket was at 143 for NC State. Matt Abel made a three-pointer to make it 77-111. From that point on, NC State would not score again, and Louisville, I think, reeled off they reeled off like a 7-0 run or something like that after the fact. So you're like, well, wait a minute. Come on, guys. Are you just trying to get to the plane now? Like, that's not good. That's not good. Like, play to the end. Show something. Carry it over, right? So that would be one thing that would kind of raise an eyebrow. And it kind of ties into the thing that I found interesting from Will Wade in his post-game press conference. He got the obvious question. Do you burn the tape from this one? That's a cliche as old as sports. You have an awful, horrible game. There's nothing you can take from it. Burn the tape and move on. Fine. Here's the thing that I found interesting. We got to find a way to get better on Saturday against Miami. Could be a tricky game. It's not like the season ends tonight, It's one loss. I mean, it's embarrassing loss, terrible loss. It's poor. It's one loss. It's not like you get 3 losses for tonight. He's right about all that stuff. But here's the thing that I thought was interesting. I think we'll be judged on how we respond and how we move forward from here. Our team's been good with that all year. Hopefully, we'll continue to do that. He's both right, but also we're beyond that now. He's right in that NC State has bounced back from some embarrassing losses. Look at the Georgia Tech loss, right? That was an embarrassing loss at home. They bounced back from that. My concern would be, it was February 9th. You're supposed to be coming into your own and being what you are the rest of the way to get you into March and beyond. That was a regression that went beyond just that you had a bad night.
Yeah, we're talking back to Maui when Texas is scoring, or even the Kansas kid coming in and burying a bunch of threes and you have no answer for after he gets hot.
It is February.
Yeah.
You should be beyond nights like that. It's not losing at Louisville. That's not the point. It's how you looked defensively. It's how you looked engaged. You should be beyond that by now. So while, yes, our team's been good all year, we'll be judged on how we respond to this kind of stuff. We're at the point now where we're judging you for the games themselves. And as much as we can laud you in finding ways to win, like you did at SMU, defensively stepping up, all that kind of stuff, or taking it to Virginia Tech this past Saturday, no, you get judged on nights like tonight too. All right. Yes, you got to say the right things. You still believe in the team. You still got to bounce back. But it's February now. You shouldn't have nights like that anymore.
Well, it also gets back to the original problems with this team. They're not overly athletic. So if you're and now you're going to play a team in Louisville that is, and it's also very deep and also very big. So these are all things that are going to give them problems. But when you're not overly athletic, you have to try harder on defense. The defensive effort level can't come down.
No.
And look, 6 games in a row that they won, those were good. And I think they have figured out who they are. And I think, again, going back to what Mike Young said, there's something too about the way that they play that kind of lends itself to some of these other teams making these crazy runs on them because they don't really have the ability to kick it into a big and break a drought. And they want to just keep firing those threes and keep firing those threes. And obviously State shot poorly. I mean, they could not shoot any more poorly than they did, really, right?
Live by the 3, die by the 3.
Yeah. But I just think it's, like you said, it's not a problem to lose at Louisville. It's not even a problem to give up the most points in the history of an ACC game. Okay.
If you scored more than 77 points, though, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah. Because we've seen that before. You trade a little bit more paint.
Right. If you're trading paint, you lose that game 118 to 110. Hell, 118 to 100. I'll even allow for that.
Right.
118 to 77.
They
dude?
couldn't keep up.
No.
They couldn't keep up. And I really thought there really was just a straight up lack of defensive effort.
You got to be beyond that now. South Carolina?
No.
Do I scratch off? Is that the free space now on the bingo card?
I mean, he could probably remind them, like, hey, when you give up 50 points and a half, it's not a good thing. Like we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I am interested to see how they react just because you got Miami and North Carolina.
They'll be fine.
Going back to,
maybe the Miami game might be interesting in the context of Miami.
What happens to Miami tonight too?
What happens to Miami not against North Carolina? Also, you got the State game. Or you got the Carolina game on Tuesday.
But what I mean by that is last week made a big point about, look, statistically, NC State and North Carolina are the same. Now, from that point, you have Carolina pick up the biggest win of their season by beating Duke. And in the way that they did. And then you have State lose by 41 to, let's be honest with this Louisville team.
They're fine.
I mean,
they're fine.
I mean,
they're a tournament team.
I agree. Yeah. And it's probably in the same category as some of those other teams that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're anything special. I mean, I think Brown is a pro, obviously, and had a great night.
Mhm.
But I mean,
That was beyond a great night.
but if he scores 15 next game, would that surprise you?
Well, we did. We did. It was either a tweet or it was a text of we need a Mount Rushmore of hero for the day, Wolfpack hero for the day. Just like Carolina fans have their own Tar Heel hero for a day. That happens in the Smith Center.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, I mean, he scored 6 against Notre Dame, 12 against Wake, and boom,
45.
10-3.
All right, well, one more call before we move on to talk some bracketology from an 832.
All right, boys, you know that entire scene in The Hangover where he calls the guy's wife or soon-to-be wife and goes, "Man, we fucked up." Yeah, I'm just like that game. What the fuck was that? So that's a throwaway game. We're going to throw that game away. We're going to act like that didn't happen, and we're going to go to the next game. Next game is at home, I think. It's against Miami. Next game is then at home against Carolina. I think Will Wade was saying that was going to happen eventually. I think he was saying it so many times that you were expecting it to happen. And then eventually, guess what came on here, Giglio? We stopped expecting the worst to happen. And then the worst fucking happened. Oh my God. I absolutely hate when Giglio goes, "Well, it's a low, the to below the low," and then guess what gets fucking proven right?
You broke that man for being right about the law of the wolf. And I will credit Will Wade for this. And I'm being sincere when I say this. And I appreciate it when coaches are telling you, like, listen to me, okay? While the Burnerverse is losing their shit over a last-second win over SMU, he's like, yeah, we shouldn't have let it get to that point. And the Virginia Tech win, yeah, but Virginia Tech got back in that game. Will Wade knows they have to be at a particular level defensively if they're going to have themselves a chance. So he knew. And he's been saying this, and why he hasn't been getting. That's why, like, he's still bothered by the Georgia Tech loss, right? I give Wade a lot of credit on that because he has not been caught up in the emotions of, oh, we won a game, we're super super hot, we lost the game, everything's down. He's like, he knows what they need to do. Clearly, they didn't do it last night. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline is our senior NCAA tournament bracketologist. He is Patrick Stevens. Patrick, what's going on, man?
Fellas, how's it going down there?
We're fine. I think Joe's okay now. He's better. He's certainly better than NC State today. I know that much. And I wanted to talk to you today for a couple of reasons, but one of them was about where NC State is in terms of the bracket. It's one thing that we've discussed plenty this season in terms of, like, what kind of tier is NC State in. And while last night was pretty damn awful for the Wolfpack, a historic blowout by their standards, this doesn't really mess with them in the NCAA tournament now, does it?
Not really. And when you look at on the team sheet exactly where NC State is in all of the metrics at this point, there's 7 of them on there, and they are between 26th and 36th in those 7 metrics. And if you take out the lowest of them, the strength of record, they're actually between 26th and 31st,
okay.
which basically says they're a 7 or an 8 seed at this point in all likelihood. And, you know, that victory over Clemson on the road didn't go away. That victory over SMU on the road didn't go away. Is this a team that can just simply coast at this point? I don't think so. But it's also a team that has a lot of wiggle room in terms of simply making the tournament at this stage.
So I'm curious about the metrics, because if you look at NC State, it's actually something that Joe and I talked about at the beginning of the season for them. And I would say we miscalculated, or at least I'll say we miscalculated in that you're looking at those non-conference games, at least the name ones, they came up short in that. And that you were curious just what the ACC was going to do for their tournament resume. And yet here we are, in that they've built most of their case and their metrics have been very, very solid because of what they've done in conference play, especially on the road last night notwithstanding. So I'm not saying there's a misconnection between what their record is and who they've beaten versus their metrics. I'm just asking, how is it that their metrics still continue to look as good as they do?
Well, some of it is because when you go back and you look at a lot of those early games that they won a lot to a little, that kind of skews some of the predictive metrics in their favor a bit. But I think, too, some of it simply comes down to after the last couple of years, everybody just assumed that they were going to get into conference play. And this goes for everybody in the ACC, basically not named, Duke. You're going to get into conference play. There just wasn't going to be anything there to work with, right? Yeah. Like it applies to everybody. And it turns out, SMU was okay in non-conference play, and Clemson was pretty good, and Carolina's better, and Virginia had the bounce back year. And so you go down the line, and those top 8-9 teams are all pretty good. And then you get into like the Cals and the Stanfords of the world that are maybe not quite there, but they're not that far off. And so there isn't as much just weight at the bottom of the league dragging things down. And I think, too, there's something to be said for you go from 20 league games to 18 league games, and you don't have the risk of getting one of those teams that is weighing you down a couple times rather than just once.
All right, I promise we're going to get better as the season goes along. I'll even create a yellow pad graphic for you. This requires me communicating with you, though. How many ACC teams do you have in the field right now?
9.
Well, this feels like a stretch, my friend. I've got Duke, Carolina, Virginia, Louisville State, Clemp as fairly obvious. What are your other 3?
SMU.
Okay, yes.
I think Miami, who actually has a monster game for them tonight.
Yes, they do.
Against Carolina. Perfect setup, right? I mean, Joe, you talk about reloading the musket all the time. Like this is the sort of game that you would expect Carolina to go struggle in, and Miami needs a game like this. But I think Miami's overall profile is just a bit cleaner than most of the other teams there at the edge of the field. And I think Virginia Tech is just hanging on at this point. If you wanted to argue them not in, I'd certainly have no problems here in that. But somebody's got to be in the field. So we're talking a 36th or 37th at-large team at that point.
SMU is being carried right now by the Carolina win?
They're getting carried by a fair bit, actually, because they're basically like a step down from State. I mean, those metrics for them are all between 33rd and 40th. Mm-hmm. They also have a neutral site victory over Texas A&M. They beat Virginia Tech. They have done nothing dumb all season. They're 4-5 away from home. Again, you start getting down to that 9 and 10 line, and you're almost looking for, all right, who isn't giving you a reason to not be in there? And SMU's not given any reasons really to not be there.
Miami also feels like could be a metric darling, a little bit like NC State, the way that they won some of their early non-conference games in particular.
Yes. 5 of their 7 metrics are in the 40s. They have one result-based metric that is not great, KPI, 54th, 37th in the net. And like you said, they had a lot of blowouts early. The only bad thing they've really done all season was lose to Florida State at home, and that's not as bad a quad 3 loss as we probably would have guessed it would be. But they do need something to sort of tout. And at this point, they're probably getting a little bit of mileage, I think, out of that 5-1 road record as well. So I think tonight for Miami is a major opportunity, simply because they need something. They're just in a spot where they've got to add something to, especially if you see some of those teams at the edge of the field start to differentiate themselves a little bit more in the positive direction.
Let's move over to Carolina, where it's almost like they have the inverse of NC State in that they have some name wins, including a big one over Duke on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But I have noticed a tendency for some, the haters mostly, to contextualize these wins over, say, Kentucky, right? Or Kansas, which is Darren Peterson sick? Is he not sick? What's going on today?
I think I'm right about that guy. But
today in Darren Peterson, as we're coming to find out in college basketball, regardless, there have been people that have been trying to contextualize UNC's name wins, if you will, and hang that West Coast road trip on them as well. So what did that Duke win do for them in terms of NCAA tournament seeding? We know they're a tournament team, but what does that do in terms of maybe separating them from similar metrics darlings that they seem to be surrounded by.
Yeah, I thought that bumped them up at least a line for now. I mean, I have them as a 5 seed at the moment. You look at the result-based metrics that the committee tends to like, and they are 11th, 17th, and 18th in those, 22nd in the net. There's no bad losses, no remotely bad losses. I mean, the worst thing they've done is lose at Stanford. And, yes, we can sit here and say, well, Kentucky wasn't playing well then. And you can say, Peterson, whatever, right? They still won at Virginia. They still beat Duke. And you know what? It all counts. So it's a team that's 5-4 in quad 1 games. Really a lot to like about Carolina's profile and a chance to climb up even more here in the next few weeks. At 19-4, there's really not a whole lot to ding the Tar Heels on at this point.
You think Duke is still a number 1 seed?
I do, yeah. I think they're probably the 3rd number 1 seed right now behind Michigan and Arizona after Arizona's loss last night.
It's been a strange week. I saw my UConn Huskies fail to St. John's. Arizona, I was kind of looking last night. No Peterson, but it's like a ridiculous Bill Self stat. He's never lost.
15-0.
Something weird like that, yeah.
15-0, I think, against higher ranked teams at home.
That's insane.
Yeah, I was actually surprised you were awake when you sent this to me. Never lost. He's 38-0 at Allen on a Monday night, on a big Monday.
Wow.
How about that?
Ridiculous.
How about that?
It's funny. You start seeing the holes in some of these teams. Like I'm watching UConn and I'm like, okay, they've been playing murder ball. And it's like, no, actually the Big East is just isn't very good. Because they should have beaten St. John's and somehow the white kid from Oregon State outplayed the kid from Raleigh, Silas DeMary. And I'm like, well, what is happening right now? Then I'm watching Arizona last night and I'm like, I haven't really had a real good clean look at them yet. And I'm watching them and I'm like, I see it. I kind of see it, but I still wonder about their guards, right? Like, it just feels like hopefully we'll have one of those wide open type brackets this year.
It would certainly be lovely to have something that is not like last year's tournament at minimum. So all for upsets. And I don't know if there really is that huge of a gap out of between the top 2 or 3 lines. I feel like there are some gaps in this. Like you get down to around the 8 or 9 line or whatever, and you start kind of looking at teams. It's like, I don't know if they're really all that close there. And certainly when you get down further than that, it thins out in a hurry. But certainly at the top, definitely a lot of teams that we could talk about. We could talk about Iowa State, Illinois, which got a great win over, I think that was the Michigan State the other day. There's a lot to like, in terms of the number of teams that could possibly make a run at this thing.
I think you know my thoughts on Illinois, but
yeah, I do.
Patrick Stevens.
I don't even have to say them.
You don't. And in fairness, I've seen Illinois come through College Park so many times over the last decade or so, and lay eggs that there's a little lack of trust there that's kind of been built up over time.
Patrick Stevens, our senior OG bracketologist. By the way, should we have a meeting with Patrick right now?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's have a meeting with Patrick.
Do you need a place to put your brackets?
I'm working on that problem.
Oh, you're working on it. I mean, I was going to say we can provide a space for you if you need it.
We can talk about that too.
Okay. I'm just saying. I mean, we're no Washington Post, but we'll actually we are not the Washington Post because we actually still do sports. So
still do sports.
Man, this business, Patrick, it's a funny one. It's a funny one, but we'll figure something out. We appreciate your time as always, man. We'll talk to you later.
Awesome, fellas. Take care.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We are doing OG Light Bracket Night.
Ooh.
Head on over to OG Light, LITE, OG Light, bracketnight.com. And for $51, $49 and a $2 processing fee, you will get a buffet dinner from Longleaf, a dessert, and 1 pint of OG Light. All this is happening on March 16th, Monday after Selection Sunday. We're going to be there. We're going to do a show from there. You get to eat, hang out. We got some goodies. You get an OG light, obviously, and you'll fill out brackets with us. Sounds like a fun time, right? That's your bag, by the way. Filling out the brackets. So go to oglightbracketnight.com and it'll take you to Dimitri's super secret September creative website where you can get these tickets for $51. That includes buffet, dessert, and an OG light. Also, big shouts to Mikey P and the Secret Stash. I believe our Forever Grateful shirt will be done this week.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. Head on over to the OG.shop.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of? Actually, I saw this yesterday.
What were you thinking of?
In a bathroom somewhere yesterday. We may have now. This isn't me backseating the Grateful Dead design, but I feel like the Forever Grateful shirt should have been like in a Jack Handy Deep Thoughts cursive, like big, like Forever Grateful, like some of the Zac Brown album titles that you see, and you're like, or like an Eat, Pray, Love thing that everyone likes to put in there.
I mean, if you want to come up with a
faith, family, whatever,
yeah,
but like it's got to be that flowery big cursive with like
you're talking about bridal font.
Yes,
yeah,
it's like like an invitation.
Yeah, you want bridal font on shiplap, and you can sell it at Home Goods. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I saw it. I was like, that probably should have been the Forever Grateful.
You know who could do it? You know who can do that for you? Of at least a faux version of it? Color Graphic.
Of course.
I bet you we could put a Forever Grateful, like Live, Laugh, Love, bridal font Forever Grateful behind you. I think that might hit, actually.
Well, no, Vincent's got to go back.
Well, Vincent's going to go there, but the thing about the I Was There poster, which is now up, we could probably put something behind you, a little shiplap where like the ECU pennant is.
Yeah. And
that could be the Forever Grateful shiplap.
Okay.
That we sell at Home Goods.
I like that. Yeah, like one of those things.
Yeah, it's like one of these. Yeah, it's like one of these banners. I think that's what we should do.
I saw that. I'm telling you, I think it must be in my parents' house. They must have had like something, and I was like, oh man,
that's what it should have been. Anyway, go check out the OG.shop and get some of those cool designs from Mikey P. Big thanks to our guy, Chris Brassfield at Brassfield Accounting. Check him out online at brassfieldaccounting.com. He's based in Homer, Alaska, but they do have a location in the RTP. If you need to go speak to somebody and talk to somebody in person, like I've joked in the past, like the Jerky Boys, I'll bring you my stuff. And then there you go. We're done here, right? And while Chris, we focus on being a fractional CFO. You are a small business. There is limitations to what you know and what you have the mental bandwidth for. But you also don't need to be hiring a full-time CFO. Brassfield can handle that for you, but it's also tax season, and they are now doing tax prep. So head on over to brassfieldaccounting.com. Tell them we sent you. They'll do your personal taxes as well. Speaking of expertise, our guy, Gordon Miller, Miller Lending. Check him out online at millerlending.com or call him directly at 919-447-3377. I know there's a lot of uncertainty in 2026. There's speculation about what they're going to do with the rates, up, down, and whatever in between. Here's what you should not do, though. Never pay closing costs if you're going to refinance. Never pay closing costs if you find yourself in a situation where you're buying a house. The rates change. Stay flexible. Use Miller Lending because the math does not math on closing costs. Typically, people will have their mortgage for about 4 years. That's the national average. Speaking of national averages, it takes about 8 years to break even on closing costs. You see where the math isn't going to math? So don't pay closing costs. Use our friends at Miller Lending. Call them directly at 919-447-3377. Tell them we sent you, and you'll get some goodies from Roeback. Roeback is absolutely in their bag right now. They got new stuff dropping all the time. Head on over to roeback.com. Use that promo code OG20. I'm excited about some of the spring and summer things that they'll be unveiling here soon. They got new Hesse hoodie color blocks that are out as well. So go check that out. Go to roeback.com. And like we said, if you refinance with Miller Lending, you'll get a Roeback from us. You'll also get a gift basket from our friends at the Butcher's Market, which Gordon will be the first one to tell you, not cheap. So, extract a Butcher's Market gift basket from that man. Go to thebutchersmarkets.com in the meantime. As I mentioned, Valentine's Day is coming up. Even my soon-to-be 18-year-old is like, so I'm going to cook for Valentine's Day. Like, what should I do? I'm like, dude, go to the Butcher's Market. They make things super easy for you. I've said this all the time. Like, Butcher's Market will take care of a lot of stuff, and all you got to do is plate it, and it'll be like, you made it.
Voila.
Ha-ha. Look at me, fancy chef. So make Valentine's Day super easy. It's a lot better than going out. Trust me. It means a lot more too. The intentions, folks. Guys, I'm looking, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm looking directly into the camera, okay? Hear me out. As a man who's had to sell these things in the past on radio, the like, put your hand into the pajama bottom thing. No, that's for you. That's for you. The teddy bear, buddy, that teddy bear is going to be collecting dust. Okay. No, don't get the teddy bear. Flowers die. All right.
Also true.
Intention is the thing that lasts. All right. Look at me. Come right in the eyes. Intention. Be intentional.
Hey, girl, remember that steak I made for you in 2012?
Remember when you enjoyed that meat? Yeah, that was a memorable night. That's intention. So go to thebutchersmarkets.com. And speaking of intentions, close out the night on Valentine's with two roosters. Look, it's lovers month.
Mm-hmm.
They got a peanut butter lover, chocolate lover, etc. Right? Hey,
Jared might take you up.
oh, on my just
Peanut butter with an ice cream ripple.
peanut butter with an ice cream ripple. Yeah, I saw where. Yeah, you want to speak my love language on Valentine's? You want to make me a cheap date? Hey, go to Two Roosters and get that version of the peanut butter lovers. Here's what he said. Yes. Don't give me ideas where the ice cream is the ripple, not the peanut butter. Hell yes. Let's go. Let's do this. Anyway, go to tworoosters.com. All right, let's continue the basketball conversation. Bring on Brendan Marks from The Athletic. He joins us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. By the way, you can sell your car to Heister.
You can also buy a brand new Chevy Equinox with all these like way fancy cameras and oh my god!
I could see you with the heated seats and the Equinox falling asleep yesterday as you were nursing that hangover.
Heated steering wheel.
That's money.
Yeah,
that's a game changer.
It really is. I see Brendan though, and now I just have to think to myself, what part of this conversation is going to be clipped and used against me in 6 months? So here we go. Here we go.
At least
stand on business. It's fine.
You know, I now know that when I come in with you guys, I do so with a target on my back, and so inevitably,
what do you mean a target on your back?
Not from you guys. I just know that I'm going to walk out of here and in 6 months have an axe in my back from somebody.
It just shows that what we talk about seems to resonate with certain people, and I would use that as a badge of honor. Basically, it's you still care.
Yes,
awesome. We appreciate you for that. Now, I don't think any of this will be used against us later as it relates to Carolina. Okay. It's a big win on Saturday night. There's this through line with North Carolina that I've been kind of not workshopping, but I've been trying to talk through. Okay. So Brendan, help me out here. I figured you of all people can help me out on this one. Because I was talking to Matt Norlander of CBS Sports, Ion College Basketball on Monday. They brought me on to the College Sports Now podcast with Stephen Hartzell. And I just kind of threw it at Matt. Like, can you explain to me on a national level why Caleb Wilson hasn't elevated into more of a national discussion? Is it just not sexy? Like, we're all trying to figure out what's going on with Darren Peterson. Is he sick? Is he not? You know, like all that kind of stuff. AJ DeBansta and load management, you know, all those other things. Obviously, Cam Boozer is this force as well. But it seems like Caleb has to fight for more national attention, even though he checks every possible box you would want out of college basketball this season. Okay. And he had a great game on Saturday. And then Carolina's had name wins this season, right? You've got the Kentucky win. Yeah, but ... The Kansas win. Yeah, but ... And then it's like, well, you lost to Michigan State. Okay. That was down from America. Oh, but what about the West Coast trip? ... You see what I'm getting at here? And the only thing I can come up with and why people are somewhat dismissive about Carolina is because of Hubert Davis. It's this, we're waiting for the shoe to drop with Hubert because so much was on the line regarding North Carolina, and that his job status was going to be more interesting than anything related to this actual basketball team. And Hubert Davis's even year Hubert has done a fantastic job. That's off the table now. So how do we talk about Carolina going forward? Can we actually talk about this basketball team now?
It'd be nice to be able to, wouldn't it?
It would be nice.
I think that's a great sentiment, honestly. And because when you think about it in a vacuum, okay, you've got a guy who's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. Check. He is probably Carolina's best shot at an NBA All-Star. I mean, we've talked about this trivia question before. Mm-hmm. Had one since Vince. Right. He's which I know,
which is insane.
It's insane. It's insane. So I mean, he checks the box in terms of current excellence. He's going to be an All-American, probably. Check. He's going to be a top 5 pick. Check. He has the potential to be great in the NBA. Check. He has a fantastic personality.
Yes.
He's wearing a bedazzled belt for BTA. I mean, like, before he played a game for them, he was saying, I hate Duke, but you know what? I also hate NC State and Wake Forest.
Who references Wake Forest in the year of our Lord 2026?
Nobody is outside of the eruption zone. And so, and then he follows that up by leading the nation in dunks and just looking like a pterodactyl in Air Jordans. So I don't really understand. It's a great question, and I don't have a great answer. He should be cracking the national consciousness. It is, I think, I don't know if it's directly Hubert this year, under Hubert, the brand of North Carolina, I would say, compared to a decade ago, probably does not carry the same cachet. But that's the same thing that I would say about a lot of brands from 10 years ago. So it's a great question. He's certainly deserving of it. I think there's a case that if he continues playing in the biggest moments the next month the way he has, I still think there's a chance, having spoken to a couple of NBA people, that he winds up going top 3 and bumping one of the big 3 out. I still think that's on the table.
Now, as far as the Hubert part of the equation here, that's done, right? I mean, Hubert's essentially done what Carolina fans want, right? Or at least the administration wants. They've got their name wins. They're in the top 25. I mean, what more do you want? What more does Hubert need to do this year?
The Fire Hubert Davis side of the table will argue that, well, the West Coast trip can happen again, and they can lose 2 or 3 games in a row, and they can, what if Duke is their last marquee win of the year? Okay. And what if they lose in the first round, as in a 5-12 game? What if they get upset? I think then in that point, maybe it's still a conversation, but I think, like, look, this was the year where you gave him everything. You gave him the general manager, you gave him the resources. Every single player, for the first time in his tenure, and you guys have talked about this too, every single player is finally his. Mm-hmm. He has no more Roy holdovers. And what have they done? They've beaten Kansas, Kentucky, and Duke in the same season for the first time since 81-82. So seems pretty decent to me. And it seems like a play. Look, they've got one top 25 recruit committed. They're in the running for another top 10 guy after they got a top 10 guy this year. I mean,
things seem fine. They seem fine. Am I don't know. Maybe
Giglio's not liking any of this.
No. I'm laughing. I get caught up on the dumbest possible shit. Okay. You know this.
I know.
You know this.
Yes.
And like, young Brendan in another lifetime is one of our Padawan learners, and we get to help him along the way.
It said he went to Charlotte to cover the Panthers
in another lifetime. Yeah. But you just made me laugh because we just had this conversation with Roy Cooper.
Oh, right.
Because you just said, they beat Duke in 1981 and 1982. And in my brain, I'm like, now, hang on just 1 second. You don't need to pump the tires on the 82 team, number 1. Number 2, Duke was checks notes 10-17.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, not that.
So just sir, chill out.
This is fair. It's a good. You know what? That one was just for Steve Kirshner. That's like a specially crafted Steve Kirshner's driving home after the game. Can't sleep. What else?
That's a Kirshner nugget.
I told Joe yesterday. I said, look, who are the 4 blue bloods in college basketball? Carolina's 3-0 against them.
Yeah,
and they're one of them. So there is no one left for them to beat unless you want to put my Huskies in there. And God forbid we allow anyone else new into the club.
No, can't do that.
Not allowed. No, I'm super curious with Carolina. Like, normally Carolina and Duke, when they win one of these games, they do use it as a springboard. Mm-hmm. I just wonder, the way that they won the game was slightly unusual, particularly the way that they performed in the first half. It wasn't like this awakening. It wasn't like Carolina showed up on Saturday night and was like, oh, here we go. We're going to put all of our mistakes behind us, play our Super Bowl and win the game.
Didn't start that way. No.
I thought it was an unusual way to win a basketball game. But I also do think there is a way to get confidence. And, going back to the beginning of the season, Brendan and I agreed it was we would take Carolina's roster just because while Boozer may be the best player, probably still is, Vesser in the second half in particular in this game, I thought, okay, like, way to pick me up, big man. Right. And then I'm watching Arizona last night and I'm going, you realize Arizona told this guy, thanks, we're cool. Like it's kind of wild sometimes to see some of these other teams and see where they came from and be like, well, okay, that guy's a monster. They don't need Vesser. I get it now. But it's interesting to your point about Carolina getting what they needed this year. I've always liked the roster. I think it's taken them a minute defensively to figure some things out, even in the first half of that game on Saturday. I am curious to see how it goes tonight. I think Miami is a little bit of a metrics paper champion. And I think they could really put it on Miami. I really do. If they use that the Duke game as a springboard. If they don't, we've seen them play and have these defensive lapses where, a team like Miami could turn into Louisville from last night, where they get hot and you're like, hey, there's the team we thought, in the first 2 months of the season. That was an NCAA team. So it's an interesting spot for Carolina. This is one of those games too, Brendan, that you've covered before, and you go and you're like, wait a second, when I'm here with NC State, there's 12 people in the building, and I'm here with Carolina, but it's sold out. And you're like, but half of them are Carolina.
Right. It's I kind of almost look at this more from, to me, the Duke game is a validation of what Hubert had done the 5 games before. And it was like, okay, we did this against, the Virginia second half. Okay, fine.
Sure.
Virginia's a good team. They're not to Duke level. We have had the Dixon thing. We've talked about the Dixon thing. We've talked about Luka Bogovac. Mm-hmm. To me, I think it kind of stamps like, okay, guys, the last 5 or so games, I have penciled in, this is what my rotation is. This is what your roles are. And I think the Duke game just kind of means, okay, I'm bringing out the pen. This is what it is. This is who we're going to be. Now, to your point, Giglio, they did not play an A++ game. Like, they did not come out firing on all cylinders by any means. Like that, they played a B game. But to play a B game and to beat a team that, in my eyes, is very much in the like tier 2 national title contender group, I do think that should be something they can take forward, is like the security of roles and the security of, okay, Dixon Evans, we're done. It's over. It is what it is.
Yeah.
He's on the mat. Luka Bogovac, this is who you are. Jaron Stevenson, this is your role. You are now a backup 4-5. You are not a wing. Like, those sorts of things I think have finally been ironed out. And that's what we have always celebrated the most about John. And I think Hubert over the last month has done a really nice job with Saturday as the capper.
All right. One last thing about Carolina before we move on to Duke and where they go from here. I didn't think Duke was the biggest loser on Saturday. Duke, I think maybe time is a funny thing, and, you get further away from Saturday and you kind of process the game a little bit more, and you just think to yourself, Duke lost, man. They weren't going to go undefeated in ACC play. Like you said, it was a little bit of a weird game in a lot of different ways, and they came up short there at the end. It is what it is. Was the biggest loser on Saturday night not North Carolina Chancellor Lee Roberts? Was he not the biggest loser? Had to be the biggest loser, right?
He's up there. It's not just him, though. I mean, it's everybody who wants to relocate the building. And I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but on Monday, the Syracuse game, there were students at every single entrance to the Smith Center handing out renovate, not relocate banners. And then Rusty Clark, who is behind the Smith Center current location petition, he went on a little media tour and has talked to everybody this week. And so to have all this buildup and to have it have been brewing, and then to have that game and the 2 court storms and the pictures and the excitement in Franklin Street. Listen, I was joking in the post game. Students still might not, if they had started running on Saturday night, they still might not have made it from Carolina North to Franklin Street like today. It's that far. So, I mean, it really, like, not just the game, but it was just the whole culmination of the week and the movement. Yeah. And good luck putting the toothpaste back in that tube, guys.
Yeah, the other loser are the fans that have so much brain rot because of the fake stuff that's presented to them, specifically on Facebook. I've had a couple of our listeners send us through the OG Sports phone like fake Ted Valentine quotes about how even he was in like these are like Duke fans, like, so even Ted Valentine saying the officiating was terrible. I'm like, guys, if the Facebook page that you're sharing is something like Heart of Duke or like something nation, chances are you're getting a darned Scheftered here with these fake quotes. Like my new favorite genre of Facebook brain rot is Rod Brindamore on a plane. Like, and what Rod Brindamore next left everybody on the plane in stunned silence. He gave up his seat to a military veteran. And it's like Brendan's shaking his head because I'm right.
I've seen some of these, and
right. Okay.
I saw one a couple of days ago about like Dan Hurley, and I think it was like Dan Hurley's actually dead, and this is a replacement of his that's coaching. Like
missing. Yeah.
Or it was like one about like something like Dan Hurley had said to the officials or something like that. And everybody was starting to reshare it and whatnot. Now I bring up what are you making?
I have big Wizard of Oz energy for the Carolina renovate, don't relocate hysteria that is sweeping the students and the alums and coaches and the people that obviously I respect. I saw Luke May did a video.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just rolling them out, Giglio.
I know.
Where do they keep finding these guys?
Like at the risk of being the guy behind the curtain or the fucking whore sister who's the real villain of the whole entire genre. You had it inside you all along. You're what makes the place special. The people, Charles Corral, are what makes the place special.
Not the well.
It's not the building.
Not the bell.
It's not the building. There's actually really nothing about that building. Because again, the most famous player in the history of the sport didn't play in that building. Now, that doesn't mean you haven't had other excellent teams. Doesn't mean you had other excellent coaches. But you're confusing nostalgia with actual like financial, responsibility and understanding. Like you don't, as Roy always would say, we could play the game in Alaska. Doesn't matter. Buildings don't win games.
Yeah.
So,
although tell that to Kansas last night.
Sure. Well, someone who figured it out. So now there's different infrastructure. There's no rocks. What they really need to do is find another place on campus to build an entirely new arena. That's what they need to do, because the cost that you're giving away, you're losing money at the Smith Center, and you can sit here and tell me it's not about money, and I would just tell you, cool. It's all about money, but it's also about the experience. Like as someone who grew up going to Yankee Stadium, I was like, man, I can't believe we're getting rid of Yankee Stadium. Then all of a sudden you go to the new Yankee Stadium, you're like, holy shit, this is really nice. Like, look how wide these concourses are. The bathrooms are really nice. Hey, there's more than one option to go get something to eat. Oh, this is really cool.
Having been to both modern versions of Madison Square Garden, the current version of Madison Square Garden.
No, they renovated Madison Square Garden. They renovated it.
It was kind of a dump before they renovated it, but they've made it.
But they didn't have this geological issue where they couldn't.
There is
turn the building into a modern version of itself.
There's a place right across the street that they can build a new stadium.
Like the Hornets moved out of the Charlotte Coliseum. These are all built at the same time. The Orlando Magic moved out of their place. I'm not saying you need to be Atlanta and rebuild a dome every freaking 5 years, but like. The people need to like rein in. Like you see last night, that's why Carolina won. That's why the shot went in, because the basketball gods want us to stay at the Smith Center. And it's like,
where's your romanticism, Joe?
Like, no, dude.
Where's your romanticism?
A great shot. My guy Brad Frederick drew up a great play. Like, what are we doing here?
Although the way John said it didn't really sound like a drawn up play.
You had the ability inside you all along, Linda.
That's what we need to
never be called the fucking whore who was the true
wow, man. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I get that point. I think it has legs. The thing is, to me, the whole problem still comes back to the process for me, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's the same thing.
Agree with that. I don't.
They screwed up the process.
And
The PR has been bungled the entire time.
It has. They needed to show those numbers because
Mm-hmm.
I only know about this geological issue and they can't do
Right.
what they want to do because Bubba was like, we've been running into this problem. The whole Tennessee, they go to Tennessee,
Right.
that's what Tennessee did.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why can't we do that? It's like, well, actually, we have this issue with where it was originally built.
It's not about the geology. It's about, why didn't you talk to Roy?
Well, you're not going to talk to Roy about financial decisions. There was a guy who left all this money on his table.
You're
his whole
going to
career.
talk, but you're going to talk to Roy and sell him on the vision to get on board.
Correct.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Correct. And the players.
Yeah, I
and
think Roy
But-
will look at the geological data and be like, I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. And you're right about the money, but it's more like, hey, look, man, we need everybody on the same page. And basically you go to Roy and other former players of how can we transfer what you love about this building to the new place so that there is that connective tissue that brings you back to
Yeah.
Dean Smith, that brings you back to Carmichael. That's how you involve Roy and the players. But every impression that I've been given is that these decisions were made and they're finding out once again that basketball can still put their thumb on the scale for sentiment because people know Roy, people know Luke May, people know Tyler Hansbrough. They look at Lee Roberts and go, who's the fucking suit?
Right.
That's what they see.
Can I-
So that's the thing. Also,
Let me-
they also associate Lee Roberts, by the way,
with
this is-
Duke, with his alma mater.
No,
Because we all got to keep track,
well,
by the way.
there is that.
Just so you know. When you say he's the big loser, I'm like, yeah, he's a fucking Duke rat.
I mean,
You think he's really rooting for
he's
Carolina?
just trying to do his damn job. You know, it's no different than the person making branding decisions at NC State went to ECU. I've gotten to the heart of the problems. Like, guys, be adults here, okay? No, Lee Roberts,
He could be disappointed that his team lost.
dude, you know the biggest albatross around Lee Roberts isn't that he went to Duke. The biggest albatross is that dude signed off on Bill Belichick and did not
Well,
cut
he's
the
the one
cord.
He's the one who.
Well, here's
Right.
and
That's
when,
the albatross. So
when
like,
I say
trust the guy who's insisting on Bill Belichick? Nah, F that. We don't want that guy.
when I say process, what I mean is how did North Carolina hire Bill Belichick? Smoke and mirrors, under the table, board of trustees going out of line, and then the athletic department trying to go, whoa, what? And now you're stuck with the problem. And what has happened here? You've tried to go out of line, tell people what it's going to be, make decisions with no publicity, and then at the very end go, okay, here it is. And now everybody, we're in the whoa, what phase.
Exactly.
But I will say, I think unlike the Belichick situation, I think there is more of a chance that the backlash this time around may lead to a different decision than was the case with North Carolina following through with Belichick.
I agree with you on that. One other thing about what you see on the internet, I will admit that when I saw the Orange County DA screen grabbed about looking for footage,
Is that real?
that was real.
Okay.
That actually was real. I actually went to the guy's Facebook page. He's got mutuals. I don't know the DA. It just says, shocking. I'm married to a lawyer who knows a bunch of lawyers. We have a lot of mutuals. Who would have guessed, right? And sure enough, he was putting out there like, he was kind of making my point just from a DA's perspective of, you're telling me in 2026 with all the phones that exist and everybody doing all this and all the TV that's there that we don't have any footage of quote unquote multiple staffers getting punched in the face? And I don't mean this in a dismissive way. I'm simply saying what John Shire said after the game on Saturday, I would think in today's day and age could be verified in some form or fashion through video. And the only video that I've seen is the dumb one that UNC fans are trying to act like is assault, that Isaiah Evans shoved some kid's phone out of the way. I don't know about you, but if I just lost a game and I had some dumbass kid with a phone in my face, I'd be shoving it out of the way too. So get over yourself. I stand by what I said yesterday. Ban the phones from sporting events. See if this stuff happens. And for those who go, how are you going to do that? I can tell you never get out of the house and you've never been to a show before where they do these types of things and they put your phone in a yonder bag and everybody enjoys the show for what it is. But that's a separate conversation for another day. What I'm curious about is clearly Duke loses so infrequently under John Shire that they're almost like these event level things. Okay. And once we get beyond what happened on Saturday, I'm kind of left with a shoulder shrug. You lost. It's your second loss of the season. You lost 3 times in the regular season last year. Okay. They got you this time. Your sequences went wrong in the last 5 minutes of the game. You were dealing with foul trouble. You didn't handle it well. Like, okay, shoulder shrug, on to the next thing. After everybody had the hand-wringing freak out after blowing a 17-point lead to Texas Tech with, I think, what? How many guys were healthy that day in the Texas Tech game?
3, yeah.
Right? Hey, you know what? I've seen that with my own kids' youth team. They went up against a team that like half the team was out on vacation, the other half was sick or whatever, or a third was out on vacation, the other third was sick, and they basically ran 2 lines. They still kicked our ass. Like sometimes it just happens that way, right? So the Texas Tech loss happens. All right, you blew the lead. They reel off 10 straight wins and look like they were kind of coming into their own with who they are. I'm not trying to be dismissive of the loss. It's more along the lines of you're gonna lose. It happened. I think Duke will bounce back just fine. Am I wrong on that?
No, not at all. I mean, this is hardly the most official gauge of this, but I live in Durham. So I have Duke and North Carolina neighbors, and like taking the dog for a walk on Sunday, you know, Carolina fans are all coming out of their houses and on their porches, and it's like, you know, it's like a musical, and they're like, we were there.
Dude, that's a separate conversation.
Yes.
That is a separate conversation about the reaction. But
the Duke fans I saw were mostly like, yeah, I mean, both our losses have been by 1 possession in massive games, like in games that we were up by double digits and we just didn't close.
Yeah.
And in some other games where we've been up, we have closed against Michigan State and Florida. Like, not that they weren't upset. Like, you don't obviously want to lose the rivalry game, but like materially, as the AP poll showed, nothing. What changed for Duke? Like Duke is they're still in line to be a 1. They're still in line to win the ACC. They're still in line to be in the region that they want in the East. Like, all those things are still on the table. They didn't lose they get Carolina again. Like, what has it is what it is.
If there's a discussion about Duke, if you wanted to have some conversation about John Shire, I guess over the last 2 years, the question would be, is there something that he can do differently in these end game scenarios? And I'm not talking about the final play. I'm not talking about Cam Boozer trying to win the game on a bucket. He had a clean look at it. Is there a conversation there with these blown leads and not being able to close it out in these situations? Offensively, because everybody's focused on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I think that, look, the last 2 years specifically, because that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. To me, it's just a roster construction thing.
Okay.
He's done this, like, he built these rosters around these, like, elite, I'm not going to say the G word, but elite freshmen. Okay? Cooper Flagg and Cam Boozer. You built the teams around them. You recruited in the portal around them. You got specific freshmen who would complement them. So at the end of the games, yeah, he's going to them. But in the first 2 years of his career, was John going to Jeremy Roach every play in late game scenarios?
No.
The Jared McCain year, it wasn't just Jared McCain at the end. It wasn't just Filipowski.
Yeah.
There were more options on those teams because they didn't have this one guy. That, to me, is what I look at it. John has proven when he has one of these horses, he's going to ride it for better or worse, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And, like, they don't have – it's hard when you have a guy of that caliber like a Cooper Flagg or a Cam. Obviously, Knipple is going to be the anomaly of all anomalies. It's hard to have other guys that, like, can shoulder a commensurate amount of the load, in my eyes. So yeah,
does it come down to guard play then? Because we just had this conversation about Hubert Davis.
I was going to say, this gets back to our original conversation about the roster.
It's it's back to the roster. So it's the fact that Isaiah Evans had 1 basket in the second half.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
That can't happen. Right.
So just like you do an initial glance, we've talked about this almost every year. You have to have NBA dudes. I get it. You can feel cute, sweet about your 7th year and 8th year players and all this other stuff. And we've played together since 2nd grade and played backgammon on the bus and all this other bullshit.
Former G leaguers who come back and then now they're not eligible.
But how many pros you got? When we're looking at Duke going, you got Boozer.
Your other pro fouled out with 6 minutes left in the second half.
Yep.
I suspect Gungba and Evans will be pros. I don't know how good they'll be. Like, Boozer can be. I know some people are like, oh, he plays below the rim. He does this. He does that. At some point, you have to let genetics kick in, people. All of these great athletes we've seen in the last 20 years, like, oh, shit, look, his dad was a Major League Baseball pitcher. Oh, that's really weird.
Right.
Oh, shit, look, his dad led the NBA in 3-point shooting for 100 years. Oh, shit, he's pretty good. Right? Shador Sanders, who I'd say this about, too. Like, oh, shit, he's pretty athletic.
Your dad was Dion? Get the hell out.
Weird. Cam Boozer, yeah, man, that was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and dismiss his NBA prospects. That's a long way of me retorting to some people who are like, oh, push below the rim and he dominated.
Yeah, I have no time for that.
And I'm like, and you see him like handle the ball and like he can
shoot and pass. Like
it's really a passer. But I wonder about his supporting cast. Obviously, I was a big Knipple fan. I thought last year,
and you're seeing
they
that
should
play
have
out.
involved. They should have involved Knipple more last year in end game stuff.
Yeah,
you know, I think he does do a good job of using Evans in game stuff this year. I was surprised that we didn't see that action on Saturday night with him with the 2-man game with those two. But like Duke, right now they have they have 8 games left. Yeah,
I think it's 8 games.
They got 8 games left. Are they going to go any? And they have some good games in there.
No, it is backloaded.
Yeah, Michigan, you're going to run it back with Carolina, and you're going to play State and Virginia. Between one of them, they'll give them a game.
And you got Clep on Saturday.
Yeah, but that's here. They're gonna hammer the next 3 teams they play. That's fine. If they get out of there less than 6-2, so they finish 27-4. Like, what do we like? To your point, it's just the machine keeps rolling on. The machine keeps moving.
So what you're telling me is that Duke, going into the tournament, has lost 8 times in 2 years.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good run.
And all of them are two like
big teams.
Yeah,
you're not getting got by Georgia Tech on a random Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Now, mentally for them, I thought it was important earlier in the season to win some of the games that they did, notably Arkansas, notably Florida, to beat. And then the Big Ten game up at Michigan State, I thought was a game that they were going to lose, quite frankly. And and Foster played really well in that game.
Yes.
So I look at this like mentally, the Michigan game to me has more value than anything left on the ACC schedule for them. Yeah. Because of where those other games will be played and what we've already seen about them when it comes to the conference and what it means. If they can beat Michigan, I think that gives you this mentality for them, a little bit of confidence into the tournament, that you don't want all of this seeping back into you. You don't want the Houston stuff seeping back into you. You don't want the end game problems. Oh shit, we had another double-digit lead. We had some of this other stuff and we couldn't close it out.
Yeah.
You don't want to be thinking about any of that stuff.
Do you think that this team, because again, what do we always talk about with John and Duke? It's a whole new group.
No, I know, but I think it hurt them last year that they didn't have any of those.
Yeah, they never had game pressure. They had
we delivered in this moment. I think this team has won and delivered in some late game moments. But you don't want to like run into the tournament with this Carolina loss.
And not have done that since November. Yeah.
To your point, I see what you're saying, but unlike last year, Duke had to go out of the league to get challenged.
Yes.
That's not the case this year.
That's fair.
And I'm not going to go full Jay Billis, who said, the ACC failed Duke, in the Final Four.
I'm ready for him to take the Big East this year.
Get at it. Please stop with that. They got to the effing Final Four. They played challenging teams along the way. And I guess that didn't really help Houston in the final. Now, did it? Right. So that I always found that take to be dumb. What I am getting at, though, is that unlike last year, they'll get more opportunities to have these situations in the league. Because I know why they scheduled that Michigan game when they scheduled it. Come on, Brendan. You know why they scheduled that Michigan game when they scheduled it. It's because they probably thought the ACC was going to suck again. So we got to challenge ourselves with this non-conference game to get ready for the NCAA tournament. Turns out that the ACC is a little bit better this year. They're getting a little bit more of a challenge. And I think that'll benefit Duke in the long run. Am I wrong with that?
Not at all. 100%. You're both spot on. When at John's pre-UNC press conference, he said something to the effect of, like January is for figuring out who your team is. February is for elevating. And there are still things that we need to get better at. And I asked him a follow-up of what? And he said, it's not any one offensive or defensive thing. It's not our out of bounds plays. It's not our, motion offense, whatever. We need game pressure. We need game pressure. And so I think that he's, did he want to win on Saturday? Obviously. I think he's going to be glad to have another tape of game pressure where they didn't come through. And I think that you're talking about the Michigan game. Obviously, you hope that game comes down. I can't wait for that one. I'll be in DC.
Great game.
Not a coincidence that Duke is doing this in DC the same year that the East region goes through DC, by the way. But yeah, their next 4 Saturdays, they've got Clemp, Michigan, Virginia, Carolina.
Not bad.
Not bad. I think we're going to know a lot about them. Breaking news.
Brendan Marks, The Athletic, Read his stuff, not the weird Facebook engagement farming for bots. Just a pro tip on that one.
Are we sure Aaron Beard is not responsible for some of these?
He does enjoy them. I know that.
He does enjoy them.
maybe that's how Aaron's making his fortune. He's out here content farming. Maybe that's what it is. Brendan Martz, The Athletic. All right, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great After Dark on Saturday. Again, big thanks to Alex Nunley. My personal favorite comment was, whoever this Alex guy is really sounds like a state guy. I mean, how about you put some respect on his name? ACC champion, Alex Nunley. Okay, he played for NC State. So we had a really great After Dark. Thanks to everybody who checked it out, left comments, etc. Also, I saw some people hyping it on YouTube.
Is that good?
That helps a lot, hyping a video. And else, you know what else helps a lot? Bloom & Blinds for sponsoring the After Dark. We got another After Dark coming your way Tuesday after that State Carolina game.
1 week from today.
And we'll be at the building. Are you going to get me credentialed? Do I have to text Craig?
Yeah, it's always better when...
I'll text Craig.
Yeah.
I'll text Craig. Go to bloomandblinds.com, 919-980-9815. OG listeners, 10 or more window treatments, you'll get 10% off. So hit them up. And it goes beyond your house. Yes, they can do the blackout curtains. They can do the automated shades. They can help out your Four Seasons room to be a lot more useful with shades. But let's say you got a business. Let's say you happen to have a restaurant that has these big windows, and when sunset's happening, you got the sun burning your retinas. That's not a good customer experience. No. Set the ambiance. Might be a reason why that restaurant is always changing over. So get the shades.
Yeah.
So, Bloom & Blinds, blinds.com, 919-980-9815. Big thanks to Matt Davis over at State Farm. Check him out online at insuregarner.com. We talk about home and auto, and I'll repeat myself here. If you have not thought about your home and auto insurance in a while, you're probably paying too much. You could be saving money with a simple call to our guy, Matt Davis, over at insuregarner.com, 919-779-8277. But he also does financial planning. So don't be like Giglio, who probably is down bad because his Super Bowl stuff didn't come home.
Mm-hmm.
See what it does to a man?
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself the financial confidence that things are going to be okay with our guy, Matt Davis, over at State Farm. Again, insuregarner.com. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. We're official now.
Yeah.
WH.lawyer. Yes, attorneys and counselors at law, but they're also the home of Shady's and Garner. So we're official. May 2nd.
Yeah.
For the OG birthday bash at noon.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're going to be so stinking drunk by the time Rand's wedding happens.
Let's hope not.
You know what? You're going to be asleep in the pew when I'm going to have to wake you up when it's over at this point.
Rand had to help me to my bed on Sunday.
Yeah. Anyway, go to WH.lawyer. Maybe you get so stinking drunk and you're so bad down bad that you need a home that has a drunk tank.
Ooh.
And it's where
don't have to go up the stairs.
It's where Jessica can put her drunk husband after the Super Bowl. Like, you sleep it off in here. You don't have to go upstairs.
I like that.
Can you imagine? You go to Hometown Realty. Like, all right, so I need a first floor master bedroom where I could just stumble after the Super Bowl rather than having to climb up the stairs and have our former producer help me up.
Yep.
Give him that task.
Quite a show.
Go to Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. And maybe Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority can come up with, when they come out to your house for the mosquito treatments, they got these backpacks, blowers, and they're spraying stuff. I almost felt like maybe they should do that with you with like some liquid IV. Just spray you with liquid IV from one of their mosquito
Hydrate
machines.
from afar.
Like all over Giglio.
I like that.
Go to bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save with Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Again, take care of the inside of your house. Hot and cold and moisture and all this other stuff. They'll do moisture barriers in your crawl space. So go check that out. Again, that's bugsbite.com. All right, let's get out of here with some more Hey Joe. Let's go back to the OG Sports Fest.
919 444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's. Oh, is this Steve? Did Steve go?
Yeah, he did. Got up.
Well, just weird. Hour and a half drive back to the airport to fly out in the morning. You never know when you can see records being broken. Sometimes it's when your team's playing and the records are yours, and the other times you get to see an ACC freshman record and the most points ever scored by the Toothbirds. Well, that pretty much sucked ass. So let's kill Ibis on the weekend.
It's just, you know what though? I like Steve's attitude.
But what?
He was there to witness history in person.
Where was he flying out of? The Louisville airport is right there.
Well,
he must have been flying out of Cincinnati or something.
I was going to say it depends on the flight. Like I discovered there's no direct flight from RDU to Buffalo.
Okay.
So the quickest flight I got was through BWI into Buffalo. There is a direct flight to Rochester though.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are flying directly to Rochester and then driving.
I've made that run. Yes.
To the greater Buffalo area.
Oh, that's not close.
How close? Wait,
Buffalo's over there.
Where's Rochester?
Rochester and Syracuse are near each other.
Well, how far is that airport?
It's not that close.
Is this like going? Is this like a? Well, let me put in this context.
I mean,
is this like Newark, New Jersey airport to
Manhattan?
Midtown?
No,
it's not like that.
No,
because like sometimes it makes more sense to. It literally is cheaper
an hour
to fly into Newark and Uber to New York.
It's 77 miles.
That's nothing.
Okay.
I mean, shit. I'm gonna land the minute I land on Friday. I'm going to Toronto to the Hockey Hall of Fame. So that's like a 2-hour drive. So I'm ready to go. All right, let's go to 336.
Hey guys, Connor from Orlando. Just wanted to paint a picture for you here. So I typically keep to myself during the basketball season. I stay in my room and watch games because I let it affect me emotionally and mentally a little too much. Football, I'm fine. Baseball, I'm okay. But when it comes to Wolfpack basketball, I don't let anybody watch with me. I keep to myself. I lock in, and I have a good or pretty terrible time. Well, after the SMU win, I received a text from my newly acquainted friend, David. Oh, yes, that David. And, well, he said, let's go watch the Louisville game. And you know what? It was 2026. Will Wade, we were riding high. We had a new coach. I was thinking it might be a new me, too. And so I said, you know what? Yeah, let me get out of my comfort zone with basketball, and let's go watch a basketball game with some friends, drink some beers, have a good time. Fuck this shit!
So Connor is in Orlando. My brother, whose name is David, lives in Orlando, and I'm pretty sure our guy Cheeks was there, Adam. And in fact, I don't have it in front of me for YouTube, but I think they took a picture of themselves at some bar watching the game, and Cheeks was wearing the OG hat that we sent him. Connor, I respect that.
Curse or don't.
I respect that, Connor. Yeah. You have your way of doing things. Okay.
Yeah.
And my brother is the king of FOMO, where it's like, let's go do this, let's go do that. You know what? Don't give in to the FOMO. Stay in your room and watch hoops by yourself in the comfort of your own home.
Yep.
It's all good. Let's go to a 910.
Hey, guys. I'll tell you what. I hope Giglio is still nursing his hangover rather than watching the Pack play Louisville tonight, because the law, to all the young Pack fans out there, the law of the wolf is a real thing. As a lifetime Wolfpack fan that remembers picking up the Wolfpack red soda at the local high school with his dad when he was knee-high to a pissant. And there's definitely not going to be any fucking on the Will Wade bed tonight. And to boot, the new king of Carolina circle jerk, Jay Williams, is calling the game. God, love you guys. Have a good one.
Oh, man.
It's interesting. No, my brother texted this to me. Here is the, I was like, where did I see this? And I don't know where they're at. Yeah, but my brother texted me this photo of him and Cheeks and Connor there watching this game with the score at that time 92-58.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. Not great. Yeah, definitely no fucking on the Will Wade bet tonight. 404.
Hey, it's Andy in Annapolis. To quote Ted Lasso, sometimes you play a game so bad, the only way to watch it back is at 10 times the speed and with the Benny Hill theme music playing under it. Good advice for Will Wade. Take the tape, fire it into the sun. Rest of the season still ahead. But, oof, that was a night. All right, bye.
All right, let's go to 336.
Well, the game's not even over yet, and I'm wishing I would have listened to y'all and ordered some Nature's Relief. Or I might be on the Giglio train and going to be going to work very hungover tomorrow, trying to get this game out of my mind. No Will Wade sheets tonight, unfortunately, but being an optimist, a lot of basketball left. A lot of basketball left in the season. This is an ugly-ass game. Of fucking course it is. I'm fucking embarrassed to even have state colors on right now.
Guys,
but a lot of basketball left. A lot of big games. Hell, hopefully this is like a splash of cold water on your face. Get right. Win Saturday. Beat Carolina. Give Duke a run for their money in hell. We might forget about this game. I mean, shit. We almost fired Keats before we went to the Final Four. Crazier things have happened. Terrible loss. Go Pack.
Just relax.
Puke and rally. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. I mean, hey, man, I did an entire Final Four radio row hungover having to puke in between interviews. You can make it, okay? If I could do a whole day of work doing radio, puking in between interviews, I think you'll be able to function between now and then. Also, speaking of the Will Wade bed meme, right? The whole genesis of that, people ask me, like, where'd this come from? I had a guy who's not a State fan saying, you know, as a non-State fan, I think it's hilarious, the whole Will Wade fucking in the sheets tonight, right? And that actually goes to one of my brother's buddies, Drew. We got a dumb text thread called Austin Crispy Boys from my brother's bachelor party when we went to Austin. Crispy Boys in reference to cold beers. Drew was the one who initially sent that meme to the group chat. All we've done is given it music. It needed music.
It did.
It needed music. Let's go to a 919.
Hey, OG, NC State moderator. Wasn't planning on calling in after I called in last night, but had a thought for the fan base, specifically those calling in and shitting on Giglio and Ovies for poo-pooing on NC State, quote unquote. And it's time to do some moderating. Y'all, we got to stop listening to the people who like Will Wade that are in the media. They've been blowing smoke, overlooking clear deficiencies that we have as far as rebounding goes, our defensive effort. We can't stop folks with our perimeter defense, except for maybe two of our guards. And I feel like the OG's been pretty consistent and steady with a level head at how they talk about our team. So maybe we should listen to them a little more instead of trying to be right and puff out our chest for going on a 6-game win streak against a bunch of middle-of-the-road ACC teams. Because like they've been saying, the OG has been saying, that's not what Will Wade promised. Are you going to the water cooler today with your gear on? I'm not. Especially after the way Carolina beat Duke. I don't want to talk about this shit. I got to go to fucking Bible study tonight and apologize for all this profanity I'm dropping, even though I don't think God really cares about my profanity. Anyways, no. I got to go to Bible study tonight with my best friend, who's a Carolina fan. And you know what he's about to do? He's about to shove this shit down my throat. And he should. He absolutely should. Because the expectation has been raised by us and by Will. And that's a good thing. But at the same time, we have to look at our team not with our Will Wade rose-colored lenses anymore. We got to wake up a little bit and realize, ooh, this isn't quite what was promised, like some people on this program have been saying. So just wanted to drop that. Hope everyone has a good day. Tuesday's my least favorite day of the week. But yeah, go Pack. Let's see what happens against Miami.
The NC State, appreciate that call from the NC State moderator. One thing that he did hit on that I have not, I want to see how the rest of the season plays out before I really process this, but he did say something that has kind of, I've been hinting at, or I've actually not hinting at, I've said it, in that Will Wade is the first coach that NC State has had that is one of the guys, right? Like the basketball tastemakers, like Field of 68, whatnot. But there's one in particular that I'm really confused by, and that is one Aaron Torres. Now, Aaron Torres has been doing this for a very, very long time. He's bounced around a couple different places. And he really, like, when basketball season comes around, he's like the Timu version of John Rothstein. Okay. There's no other way to describe it. It's like, hey, honey, we have John Rothstein at home. His name is Aaron Torres, right? And like, he was going like super hard in the paint with Shire. He clearly doesn't like Shire, because my guess is he's probably been shut out of the Shire media ecosystem. So he's got a problem with that. But because Will Wade seems to give this guy time, he's like, he probably actually does for real have Will Wade sheets. You know what I'm saying? And when you only deal with Twitter, those are the kind of things that you get. Let's see. We got two more.
No. Gotta go.
Where do you gotta go?
I told you 12:30.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
I did.
What do you have to do?
Go, hurry.
Fine, we're done. Go. Show's over. See you tomorrow.